Welcome, friends, to another exciting episode of A VGM Journey. And I'm your host, The Messenger. The track that we're playing in this week's show is Fashion Show from the game Rugrats, Totally Angelica, and it was composed by Cate Pelose. For this week's show, I decided to do something a little special for my fiance, Carly, and had her come up with her most favorite pieces of video game music ever. And this track list, it's a good blend of stuff that we have heard before and some new stuff, a little bit of retro and a little bit of modern, but all of it, in my opinion, definitely fits her taste in video game music. And I'm sure that you guys are going to really enjoy this set list. And I say, let's kick it off with our next track, which is coming from The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, specifically the remake. The track is Mysterious Forest, and this was originally composed by Kazumi Totaka, Minako Hamano, and Kozue Ishikawa, and this arrangement was done by Ryo Nagamatsu. That track that you just heard, that was Mysterious Forest from the game The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. It was originally composed by Kazumi Totaka, Minako Hamano, and Kozue Ishikawa, and this was an arrangement done by Ryo Nagamatsu. Mysterious Forest is a pretty good track for both the original and the remake, and even though Carly likes both versions, she heavily prefers the remake, and I think the reason for that is that she really digs the electronic sound mixed with that really cool violin, and that it also seems to give off a good vibe of mystery mixed with a bit of danger. And that's because you're finding yourself lost in this forest, dealing with monsters and a pesky tanuki. I'm pretty sure it's a tanuki. And while we both agree that the music for the entire series is really good, I sometimes find myself a little surprised that Link's Awakening, soundtrack-wise, is a favorite of hers. That's not bad stuff. I mean, it's pretty good. And that's probably because it kind of has a bit of a different sound to it. A little quirky, but you could definitely vibe with the track. For this next track, we're going to go with a childhood favorite of hers and play this track from R4, Ridge Racer Type 4. The track is Pearl Blue Soul, and this track is composed by either Kohta Takahashi, Hiroshi Okubo, Asuka Sakai, Tetsukazu Nakanishi, or Koji Nakagawa. That track that you just heard, that was Pearl Blue Soul from the game R4 Ridge Racer Type 4. And it was either composed by Kota Takahashi, Hiroshi Okubo, Asuka Sakai, Tetsukazu Nakanishi, or Koji Nakagawa. R4's got a pretty banging soundtrack, and I wouldn't have known that if I haven't met Carly. And she's not even really much of a racing game fan. But it was a game that her and her brother had for the PlayStation when they were kids, and that the soundtrack for the game stood out to her as something really amazing. And it turns out that a lot of people feel the same way, even though I don't really hear too many people talk about the game itself. But when they do hold it in a pretty high regard. I think we're going to keep this PlayStation train going with this next track coming from Namco Museum Volume 1. The track is View, and this was possibly composed by Kaori Idaya, Nobuhiro Ouchi, and Kenji Matsuo. That track that you just heard, that was View from the game Namco Museum Volume 1. And it was composed by Kaori Idaya, Nobuhiro Ouchi, and Kenji Matsuo. Namco Museum Volume 1 is another childhood favorite of hers, and that it introduced her to a handful of classic Namco games, such as Pac-Man and Pole Position. And the presentation of the game, I think, is pretty cool. So you could walk around in these little 3D areas and check out the games. And if I'm remembering correctly, you can even look at some cool artwork as well. And this track serves its purpose. It's a nice, chill track. I kind of like listening to it on its own. So I don't know, you kind of feel like you just lose yourself into it. Kind of just like how I'm losing my train of thought at the moment. And yeah, Namco has made a whole bunch of Namco museums since then, and I'm not sure how the other volumes are on the PlayStation 1. I'm sure it's probably the same type of presentation and different games and whatnot, but I think for Volume 1, I think it was a really good start, and this track does kick ass. We're going to move on to a little drum and bass action with this next track. And this is coming from Sonic the Hedgehog, also known as Sonic 06. The track is Aquatic Bass Level 1, and this specific track was composed by Mariko Namba. That track that you just heard, that was Aquatic Bass Level 1 from the game Sonic the Hedgehog, also known as Sonic 06, and that was composed by Mariko Nanba. And that's going to just about do it for the show this week. If you like what you've been listening to, have your friends check out the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever podcasting service that you can think of. I'm more than likely going to be on there. You can email the show at vgmjourney@yahoo.com, and you could also check us out on Twitter at vgmjourney. We're going to play things out with one more track, and this is coming from the game Dynamite Deluxe. This is the main menu theme, and this was composed by Skaven. Have a good week, everyone.